Hi, it's Rita. Reiki Rita Roberts. There's an old expression that says, the truth will set you free. And I believe that's where we're at right now. In fact, I etched this truth in my arm about 7 years ago. And I wasn't sure why, but I believe I know now. As you can see, I've written yesterday, I was all hyped up about how I could do the Me Too movement and, talk about the Me Too, about family dysfunction. And I was all hyped up about it. And today, after meditating, I've changed my mind. I want to speak to you just really frankly. And I want to speak to you from my heart. The Me Too movement is great in the fact that it's bringing out the truth. Truth is the highest vibration of energy, closest to love, integrity, gratitude. So the truth is the only thing that sets us free. It's true. Because where there is, but with truth comes exposure and being vulnerable. So a few of you have seen from my posts lately that I feel driven, passionate about speaking about family dysfunction. And I've been passionate about it ever since my book got launched. Parents with Price Tags. And that book, believe it or not, was a love letter. It wasn't about pointing out all the negativity in my family and saying you're right, you're wrong. It wasn't about that. It was about healing my heart. So I'm moving forward with, maybe I'm the only one crazy enough to do it, but I feel God is speaking to me and that I'm the one to start that movement, to start really speaking about what's going on in families. All right? And I know that we're not perfect. Again, this isn't about perfection. This is about being happy and healthy. So I said I'd speak a bit about it. The program, I'll get into it a little bit later. But what I was told after my meditation today from Spirit was in order to help you heal yourself, and you're going to have to get vulnerable. Because a functional family is an emotional empowerment program for parents, for anyone who feels unloved by their own family, who feels they don't belong, who feels like they're the black sheep, for lack of a better word, and just feel like they don't fit in. And I felt like that too. So before I can ask you to get vulnerable, I gotta get vulnerable with you. And I want you to hear my story. So I'm gonna be as brief but as deep as I can. I'm a little nervous, and that's okay, because getting emotional and vulnerable is nervous, and you're gonna hear it in my voice, and I'm just gonna put it out there because I want you to trust me. I want you to be able to feel love from me and nothing but deep caring for you. So in order to do that, you have to know why I'm the perfect person to come to about your own feelings of feeling unloved and authentic with your own family. When I was a child, I was the good child. I was one of 5 girls. My dad never had a son. But then when they finally did have a son at the end, unfortunately, God called him back home and he passed. Anyways, I was that sort of tomboy or that perfect child. And let me tell you, that's a very difficult position to be in because, children will do whatever they need to do to feel loved by their parents. That's really what it's all about, all right? So I was a twin sister, and still have. And I was a good child. Whatever you wanted me to be or say, I would do. I was a straight A student, never caused any problems. So, my parents didn't worry too much about me because I guess they felt, out of the 4 or 5 girls, Rita could take care of herself, so let's not put too much worry on her. Problem is, I guess subconsciously I interpreted that as being dismissed or not being valued. As an adult, logically, I understand that I was sort of the easy one and I could lick my own wounds and take care of myself. But psychologically, as a child with no life experience, I interpreted that as not feeling loved. And I guess I carried that through my whole life. And that's sort of how it starts in the family. That if you were to meet my parents, they're wonderful people. You think they're great. What the hell's Rita's problem? But, each child is so sensitive and their needs are so unique about how they interpret love. So this is why I want to help parents really listen to what they're saying and doing and not saying, that are really going into the child and getting interpreted as not feeling loved. So going back to me, as I grew up, again, doing the right thing, being funny if you wanted me to be funny, I would be whatever. I was a chameleon. I didn't really know who I was because I grew up in a very typical European controlled environment. Do as I say, not as I do, and nobody gets hurt. Anyways, at 15 years old, I met what I thought was the love of my life. And true, head over heels in love with my soon-to-be boyfriend, husband. Dated him for 8 years. Again, no life experience, but I just felt this was love. We did all the right things. He looked good on paper. My parents loved him. I loved him. What was the problem? Well, we got married 8 years later, making me about 23. And, I was already pregnant. Not already pregnant, but I got pregnant on my honeymoon almost immediately after we got married. But I'll tell you, within the first year of that marriage, I knew that I made a mistake. And that doesn't mean he's not a good man, but I just felt like there was something missing still. There was something missing in my upbringing. There was something missing in this marriage. So, nowadays people live together and that's great to see if you're compatible. But back then we didn't. And I was already pregnant. So Rita was still in search of love. And my husband at the time was not an emotional person. And so I married somebody who lacked emotion. And it's funny how we do that. We attract the things that we don't need when our vibration is low. So I kept searching for love. So I had another child and another child, 3 children. Then after I couldn't have any more children, I got pets, dogs. So I was always in search for love. But something still, even though I had everything that I thought would make me happy, I wasn't happy. I didn't know why. Remember, I was very naive. I was still a child in my mind, and I didn't have any life experience. So well into our marriage, then I ended up meeting somebody. And I'm so surprised that I'm saying this out loud, because for the longest time I felt a lot of shame and guilt about infidelity. It was everything I was opposed to, and yet I found myself doing it. That relationship came into my life to show me how extremely unhappy I was and how sad and brokenhearted I was. I'm addicted to love. So to me, the search would be love, where some people would maybe not have an extramarital affair, but what they would do is find an addiction that they could lose themselves in, whether it be drinking, alcohol, drugs, cutting, eating too much, drama, whatever our addiction is. We all have them when we're broken. So that relationship came in. It wasn't love, but it was a way to raise my energy to help me finally realize that I am so hurting. I was so lost. I didn't even know that I was, you know. And there's probably so many people, you probably don't even know you're lost. Okay. So that was sort of the beginning of the end. And I had to listen to my heart and start saying, you know what? I need to do some healing. I need to go backwards in time and say, where did this come from? Why do I feel I grew up with food on the table and clothing on my back and a roof over my head, but yet why am I still so sad? And that's why I'm reaching out to you to help you as well. So I'm sharing this with you, being vulnerable with you, to show you that I'm no better than you. I'm the same as you. I have the same thoughts. I make the same mistakes. The only difference is that I've healed and I've risen above it, and I want to help you as well. So after that, of course, our marriage ended up in divorce. And I brought more dysfunction, man-made dysfunction, upon my life already. Grew up in dysfunction, created dysfunction through divorce. And the saddest part is that I dragged my kids through all this too, and I wasn't showing them love. I was hurting them. Okay. I had to work through that guilt, and that part of the healing process was writing the book. That's what that book was. It started off as a journal, writing about my feelings. This wasn't about hurting people. My parents are doing nothing different than 80% of all other families out there as well, who unintentionally are hurting their children and they don't know it. Okay, so this is where the bleeding stops. After I got divorced, started healing, I found Reiki, and that has been the replacement of love in my life, and I will never. My name has changed. I'm now Rita Roberts, calling myself under that, but I will never stop being Reiki Rita, because it's infinite love. It's unconditional love. And why am I doing what I'm doing? Because when I started doing Reiki, a lot of the people that were coming to me were dealing with emotions. And there was a commonality. Their emotions were, they felt sad, they felt unhappy, they felt depressed, anxious. Some of them felt suicidal. And this went on, and I thought, what the hell is going on out there? So yes, we're looking at physical health. Yes, we're looking at mental health. But very few people are looking at emotional health. All right? And that's what I'm doing. Because we always get emotionally sick before we get physically sick. Those thoughts in our head lead to us feeling unhappy. So this is why now I'm shifting a lot of my work from one-on-one, because I sense an urgency to help as many people as I can, you know. So when you peel back the layers, and that's what Reiki does, it goes back to the source of your pain. And the source starts with when you were a baby and a child, you were absolutely perfect, and you still are. But somewhere through our wounded parents, we were taught that we weren't good enough. And then the world showed us that we weren't good enough. You know, and we started being judged. That's all you see out there, judgment. And we started to lock and load this belief that we're not good enough. And so many people have moved away from who they authentically are because of the level of fear out there. So to wrap this up, because I see it's getting on time now, that is my story, and this is why I'm doing it. Because children are the closest thing to heaven we've got left. The closest thing to unfiltered, unaffected, pure love that we got. And I want to protect them because, you know, when I see a child being handed over to a wounded parent, I get so angry. I just want to scream. And I mean, if you think I'm kidding, I'm not. Like, this is where Rebel Rita comes out. That child I don't want them to go through 50 years of fucking therapy about not feeling good about themselves. I want that child to just grow up and be the essence of God that they are. Bringing their music and their creativity out into the world instead of settling. Because that's what we do. We settle for these relationships. We settle for half-assed jobs that are soul-sucking jobs. We are settling for fear, not love. So it's time that we bring love back. The other part of my passion is I just want peace. I want to wake up every morning and just be in peace. I don't want to hear any more drama. I don't want to hear about fucking Trump. I don't want to hear about any of this shit. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So I can see that I'm shifting into Rebel Rita, and that's not where I wanted to go, but she came out. So now you've saw my heart, and now you've seen my passion. So if this story resonates with you, whether you're divorced, whether you're in a family with controlling parents, whether you're living with anger and fear, whether you're living a lie, all right, this is dysfunction, and we need to start talking about it. That's the Me Too here that I'm talking about. Me Too movement I want to create is about talking about family dysfunction and admitting that it's real, and stop sweeping it under the rug, for God's sake. Because we have to feel to heal. All right? So with that, I'm going to let you go. I hope my story resonates with you. If it does, I'm still working on websites. I'm working with my web girl. If this story resonates with you and you want to move out of that place of dysfunction and you want to find love and authenticity in your life, and you want to be a better parent, you want to be a better person, and you want peace in your life, then you know what, for now, just email me. All right, I'll gather up your names, I'll reach out to you, I'll answer whatever questions you have. Email me at rita@reikirita.com. Okay? Thank you for listening. From my heart to yours, have a blessed day. God bless you.